So last week, I just dropped in the meditation, something about setting an intention, and several of you who spoke afterwards mentioned this and talked about how you'd used that, yeah, how you had set an intention that had been helpful and that had influenced your practice. And the intention I'd dropped in was quite general. It was quite general around being aware, but you'd made it quite specific and helpful. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about that, because setting a direction for the mind in this way, which is what setting an intention is quite powerful. It's quite powerful for the mind to be directed just at the beginning of the practice, though it may be that you remember it during the practice, so it informs further through the practice. And yes, it can be quite a general intention my intention for this practice is to be aware or to have kindly awareness, something like that. But it can be more specific as well to where you are at the moment. I think one of the ones last week was my intention is to relax in the practice. So really emphasizing what's seen as being helpful or necessary at the time. And this is an aspect of right mindfulness. It's the aspect of samprajanya, or clearly knowing what's going to be helpful, and recognizing that as best you can at the beginning of the practice. And you might not know, and you don't necessarily need to be specific, but if something arises when you look to set an intention, then use that. I was thinking that intentions are obviously helpful in daily practice as well. And things like before a difficult conversation or before a meeting, so you might set an intention, say before that difficult conversation, to say the intention is to listen, not to rush in, but the intention is to listen first. Something like that could be helpful. Or the intention is to stay soft in a conversation where it might generate a bit of heat. And sometimes before a task that I know might lead to some frustration. And favorites for me are, well, anything to do with technology generally, or particularly to do with my computer. It can generate quite a bit of frustration, or where I have to ring a call center because something's gone wrong. Those are two just really sort of obvious ones for me. So I might set an intention, patience, just remember patience. And with that comes a feeling of softening and of groundedness. Or an intention to just really watch for the reactivity that I know habitually arises in those situations. That can be useful. And with the festive period coming up, probably we're doing all sorts of different things over that period. And I know at least some of you are on retreat because you signed up for the retreat, the online retreat that I'm leading. So retreat time, maybe you see what intentions are helpful at the beginning of a practice day there. But it might be that you've got a period where other patterns come up. Maybe you're not in your home, maybe you're in somebody else's home, in your family's home. What's likely to come up? What patterns are possibly going to emerge, and what triggers around different people, family members perhaps, around habits of TV, food eating, alcohol drinking, yourself or the people that you're with. So just setting an intention can really prime the awareness to be open and watchful in a helpful way, more spacious way, around potentially tricky situations that come up when you get a lot of people together with not a great deal of sort of focus necessarily, or a great deal of activity, but a lot of habit or a lot of history together. Yeah, so watching out for those situations and those times when perhaps there's less mindfulness. And you could set a general intention each day on waking, when you wake up, just around, yeah, in a way, an aspiration for the day, an aspiration to awareness, an intention to awareness, kindness. And if you like, you could write it down. You could write it down and carry it around in your pocket, so that in a way it's there. You put your hand in your pocket for a tissue or something, and there it is, that little bit of paper that just connects you back to your intention, your aspiration for the day. And finally, you can also check in with yourself or with somebody else if you've got the person with whom you have that sort of relationship. You could check in at least with yourself about how it went during the day, not as a way of giving yourself marks out of 10 or anything like that, but just how did it go? And that can inform practice for the next day, the next day's intention. It could be, well, it went well here. I felt I kept awareness, or there was less reactivity than there might have been. But in this other situation, it was a bit different, and perhaps that you recognize there was something else that might help for the following day. So there we have it, a festively themed nugget to take you through the holidays. And yeah, so we won't have any more drop-ins now until I think it's the 8th of January, because we've got the retreat in between now and then. So if you'd like to set yourself up for meditation,